Haroon and I met while he was visiting Nepal for education fairs. He himself was an international student and has worked with international students for many, many years, advising them with admissions and how to make smart higher education decisions. Thanks so much for being here, Haroon. I know that your experience is going to be really inspiring and valuable to our students.
I've been working as a admissions counselor for about 13, 14 years now, sending students to the US, recruiting students from the US. I am a Pakistani who came to the US as an international student back in fall of 99. So I wish I knew many things, but we'll cover a few as much as we can. I wish I knew there were over 4,000 accredited colleges and universities in the US. That's the official number, 4,000 plus. I thought there's only maybe four. When I was back home in Pakistan, I applied to two, University of Houston and Temple, only because somebody told me about them. In 2021, we have all kinds of resources. Internet is our best friend. It's also important to know that there are many other universities that are unaccredited. So a good source to check a university's accrediting body is chia.org. So there we go, chia.org. That website is officially used by the Department of State and Education USA advisors and many universities. So different accrediting bodies accredit universities in the US. If a university is not on chia.org, then you might want to not consider it. That doesn't mean that they're illegal, they're just not accredited. For example, I was in Pennsylvania. There's one college called Johnson College that's not accredited. They've been there for over 100 years, but just not accredited. So I wish I knew that there were over 4,000 accredited universities and colleges in the US. I would have definitely applied to a lot more than just two. I wish I knew that there was something called automobile engineering because my interest was engines and cars. But being a South Asian, I knew either I want to become a doctor or an engineer, which I didn't have an interest in, or, I'm not going to become a doctor or an engineer, so I'll go for business. Till this day, I still like opening up engines, car engines, motorcycle engines, or little remote control plane engines. So I wish I knew that there was a major called automobile engineering. What I'm trying to say is if you have a unique interest, there's a high chance that one of these 4,000 universities has a major in them. There's nothing better than to pursue a degree that you have an interest in. It makes life easier. It makes working easier. Later on, I found out that there is something called automobile engineering. Not many universities have it. Who knows? Maybe in the next couple of years, I'll start pursuing it. I mean, I went for business. I changed my major from business to hospitality once, but on average, Americans change their majors 5 times. So don't be afraid to, getting out of your comfort zone or exploring other things. Which brings me, there's liberal arts universities that give you an opportunity to take different classes. Let's say I was a business major pursuing my BBA. I still took psychology, music, art history. So don't be afraid to explore other courses, other disciplines. Again, on an average, Americans change their majors 5 times. So if you change it just once, that's okay. I wish I knew that I could select my own classes. Somebody coming from South Asia, from Pakistan, I had no clue that I could pick my own classes. I thought that I will be told, here's a schedule, take A, B, C, D, and that's it. Once I was given a very big, thick book, I was told to select courses. Now, University of Houston had over 30,000 students, so they had hundreds of classes. It became a little overwhelming. I had no clue what to do. Come with an open mind. You can start with a math class, if you're comfortable with that, or you can start with an English class. You will have an advisor who you can meet and discuss things with him or her, and you select your own classes. Next point is, I wish I knew that small universities have a lot more hand-holding capabilities as compared to big universities like University of Houston. So being Asians or South Asians, we come from a very close-knit community. Now, if you're going to a big university like Ohio State University, UT Austin, or UCLA, they have over 50,000 students. And unfortunately, their staff, whom I've met, they said we cannot handhold students. So for example, I go to University of Houston. Will there be somebody from the university to pick me up at the airport? Absolutely not. You're on your own. You know, you can Google instructions or whatever, but you can go to a smaller university if you want that kind of hand holding with maybe 5,000 students or less than that. Then sure, you can email your admissions counselor, the international office, that yes, we can pick you up from the airport, or they'll guide you, what kind of airline you can take. They'll take you to your dorms and guide you a little bit more. I wish I knew that going to University of Houston was going to be such a challenge. I was going there for an education, but on the side, I was struggling with how to get to class, or what does swiping your card meant, or where to find, the cafeteria. It was extremely overwhelming. So smaller universities can do a lot of hand-holding, guide you, as compared to bigger universities. It's not that they're not, they're good people, but they just don't have time because they've got hundreds and hundreds of students to deal with. I wish I knew I would be treated like an adult in the U.S. at a college and university. I was still a newer, fresh off the boat student. I thought I will be told what to do, what kind of classes to take, what time to eat, what time to get up. In fact, that is not going to be the case. No one will tell you what kind of classes you have to take or what time to wake up. You will be treated like an adult who's expected to come to class on time or bring a pen with them or turn off their cell phones, but you will be treated like an adult. You will not be told what to do. You'll be guided. I wish I knew that I'm going to be treated as an adult. I wish I knew that US had hundreds of places to visit. So you get plenty of small breaks, Easter break, Christmas break, and there's a good chance you won't be flying back to Nepal every time these breaks are here. So initially, as an international student, I didn't know what to do. So I would stay in the dorms, very depressed. Nobody's there. The cafeteria is not open. It's like a ghost town. But once I mingled, I was taking advantage of Labor Day weekends. I was going to meet friends on Christmas. I was visiting Niagara Falls. The US is a huge country. There's plenty of things to do. Find other friends who drive a car, share petrol money with them. Or there's buses and sometimes the train. So different ways. I wish I knew I would have to make an effort to make American friends. American culture is a little different than our South Asian Nepali culture. In Nepal, every time I visited, locals would come to meet me, to greet me, to offer me, a cup of chai or coffee or something. It's a little different in the U.S. You would have to initiate a little bit. Again, that's going back to that you are an adult now. You're not in school. So being an adult, you have to take that first step, ask questions, introduce yourself. This is who I am. I'm from Nepal. And once I made American friends, life in the US as a student was much, much, much better. Attending classes or, having some break time, it was much better to have local friends. I wish I knew that Americans write everything on their instructions. I don't want to generalize, but a lot of us Asians or South Asians, we do not like reading too much. And on the flip side, Americans love writing everything on instructions. So whenever you get some sort of piece of paper, let that be an application, let that be an I-20. Make sure you read top to bottom, front to back. You should read everything. Hopefully, once you're in the US, there's a syllabus that your professor gives you. Make sure you read, everything. Now, paper is less, there's more email, So always make sure you read the entire email. Just keep that in mind. Americans love writing instructions, everything. I wish I knew I will become homesick. It's just normal students who are here in the US for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, they will become homesick. The graph is as such that, first, once you get here, everything, it goes up. Everything is amazing. The air is amazing. People are so nice. The food is amazing. Even the cars sound good. Everything is just wonderful. Then you reach that peak, then it starts going down. Everything is horrible. People are so different here. They talk different. They eat funny. They walk funny. And that point, you will become homesick. So it's a good idea to have some sort of a network of friends that you've made. That's when that will help. Hang in there. We all go through this. Eventually, there'll be a time when this will be your home and Nepal will be your home. So you'll be excited to, let's say, fly back to Nepal for your summer break, and you'll be super excited to get back on the plane again to fly to the US again. That's the time when you'll be like, okay, I'm set. But it is very, very normal to become homesick. Last but not least, I wish I knew that I can ask as many questions as I want. You can go up to a professor or you raise your hand and ask as many questions and any questions as you want. It doesn't have to be 1, 2, 20, 30, 40. Do not be shy. Once you're here in the US, you've paid for your tuition. You've paid towards that professor to be there to teach you. So it's your right to ask questions. And not just in class, you're at the grocery store. You should ask questions. There's always somebody in some sort of uniform that will help you. How much is this? What's in this burger, for example? There are many times when I didn't want to eat, meat, and I ended up buying something that I did not want to buy. So only if I had asked. So ask as many questions as you want. I think I would apply to at least 6 universities, a minimum. I would have one dream school, so let it be, let's say, a Harvard or a UCLA, something that I feel is beyond my reach, and then 2 schools that meet my requirement, and 2 schools that are my backup schools. I would do that. Plus, I would not jump into just declaring myself as a business major. That's something that I think about on a daily basis. I may have been an automobile engineering major, maybe, I don't know, an architect, maybe I could have been a fitness, major, exercise. I don't know. But the fact that I could come in to a university in the US as an undeclared, somebody who doesn't have to say, this is exactly what I want to do, I would definitely take that route. The different universities will have different opportunities. I can tell you that usually, not always, but usually private universities will have more funding as compared to public universities. Public universities tend to provide more funds to their in-state residents. When I say in-state, so somebody from Texas who's lived there all their life, they get a preference over out of state or out of the country. Coming to the US, you definitely want to come with a proper plan. If you think you can do a part-time job here and pay for your tuition, that won't happen. I'll give you an example. I attended University of Houston only for a year. I went to Edinburgh University in Pennsylvania, graduated there. But University of Houston, if you found a job at the library, which was a public library, your tuition would be instated. So these were things that were not on the website or prospective. You just have to network with other international students or local students and just work your way around that. Other ways were, if you, let's say, had a job at the the computer lab of the business school, your tuition is instated. Now, just today, I was talking to an old colleague who works at Northern Kentucky University, who's visited Nepal a lot. She said, once you come in, if you maintain a 2.5 GPA or higher, you get an additional 5,000 waiver towards your tuition. There are other ways to bring that tuition down, but that all depends from university to university. Again, you have to ask either the international office what other opportunities are there, or you want to ask the department. Let's say if you're an architect, ask your advisor there. If you're a business major, ask your professor there. Are there any other opportunities? There's all kinds of opportunities. Come to the US with a proper plan about your finances, keeping in mind that jobs on campuses will pay, some pocket change. It won't help towards the tuition. I've met many visa counselors. I've been on this receiving end of the visa. I've had my visa rejected. I've had my visa accepted also. It is a nerve-wracking experience. It is very, very scary for any international student. There's no specific major that you can get and guarantee a visa. Basically, if you have a plan, for example, so they'll ask me, Harun, why are you going to University of Houston? Well, I don't know. I've got a cousin there. My sister told me about University of Houston, and I'm going there. That's answer A. As compared to answer B, well, I applied to 6 universities. 4 of them rejected me. 2 of them accepted me. One is Temple University, which is a great program, and the other is University of Houston, which is also a great program. I like the size of University of Houston, and frankly, it's a tuition that I can afford. These are the 2 comparisons. A, well, I'm just going there because somebody told me. B, I did apply to these universities. They didn't accept me. 4 of them rejected me. Rejection is not a bad thing according to Americans. Not applying is a bad thing. So if you apply to just one university, that's not an ideal situation. You want to apply to many universities. These things basically will improve your chances of the visa. There's no guarantee. You basically have 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes, to change the visa officer's mind. Go in there and make sure that you know that they're going to deny you the visa. So you've got 2 minutes to change their mind that no, you should give me a visa because I'm a good student. I'm a bona fide student. These are my interests. This is why I'm going to the US. I have no intentions of staying in the US. Even if you do, at this point, you're young, you're not sure. So at this point, I'm purely going for educational purposes. I'm not going there to work. I'm not going there to, hang out with Nepali students. Because if you do want to hang out with Nepali students, then guess where they're the most Nepalis? In Nepal. So that means you should stay. But if your plan, your educational plan makes sense, it's a reasonable, it doesn't need to be the best program, the best business school in the US. Your plan has to make sense. If you're going to a university that has 500 students and you believe that's the best plan for you, go for it. You will get your visa because you applied to other universities. Some of them accepted you, some of them denied. I've got 2 or maybe 3 admission offers. So if that's your plan, absolutely, you should get the visa. It all depends on university to university and program to program. 4,000 universities in the US, I'm not sure which one does require a GRE for their MBA, which one does not. Many universities say if you have 5 years of experience, we'll waive the GRE. Some universities say you don't need any experience, no GRE is required, you can apply to us. Some universities say we want a GRE, we want 5 years of experience, we want 3 recommendation letters, and all these specific things. And some of them even require a specific GRE number total. It all depends. Will your options open up if you take the GRE? Absolutely. We keep thinking as students, if we get a less score, we're bad students. That's not the case. You get extra appreciation just for taking the GRE. There's no question about that. I mean, I salute everyone who's taken the GRE, but every university does not require it. If you take the GRE, more options will open up for you. Now, coming towards the graduate assistantship or teaching assistantship, it is basically part-time work, so 20 hours a week that you'll be doing. It is very hard to get a graduate assistantship or a teaching assistantship from outside the US. So from sitting in Nepal, it is very difficult. Some of GA ships or TA ships, if you have, if you get it, then the full tuition is waived. Some of them, half of the tuition is waived. Some of them, you will even get a little bit of money for becoming a graduate assistant. So it all depends. It is highly competitive because every department may have one or two, depending on the university side. And there'll be many students that are competing for it. Even if you don't get it, if you apply from Nepal, don't be discouraged. You can still go to university, get in touch with different professors, become more acquainted with them. Then you can apply, and or they might encourage you and be like, "You've taken 2 of my classes. I like you. We have a position opening up. Why don't you apply?" Thank you, everyone.